Hi everyone, today's session is a draw with me session where we're going to learn how to illustrate this gorgeous little hot pink jumpsuit here that I've designed. We're going to learn how to illustrate it in Adobe Illustrator, both as a tech drawing as well as a minimalistic fashion sketch, which is a little bit more of the artistic style. So Adobe Illustrator is the #1 program that all designers globally are using to illustrate their fashion designs. If you have any skills in Adobe Illustrator, it's definitely going to help you get a job in the industry. This is my own design here. I've already photographed it on a model, and I'm going to use the model pose to do my artistic minimalistic fashion sketch. And then I'm also going to use this garment as a template to do my tech pack drawing or technical drawing. So the first step you're going to do is just type in Adobe Illustrator into Google, and adobe.com will come up with products. Adobe Illustrator, this is the symbol here, and you want to click on free trial, and this will give you a 7-day free trial to trial out the program and be able to do this tutorial.
So this is the image that I got from the photo shoot. And this is the digital fashion illustration or artistic illustration that I created in a minimalistic style of the playsuit. But before the garment went into production, I created a what they call a spec sheet or a tech pack for the jumpsuit, and this is what it looked like. So it's really important to have this 2D sketch to send off to your manufacturer. So I'm going to cover in this tutorial how to make this sketch here. So the first step when you're first starting out is to do something to trace an item, just so you can learn the silhouettes, the proportions of the garment, and then you can modify from there. So as a beginner, definitely tracing is absolutely fine as you learn the skills in Illustrator and the proportions and get them right, and then you can start drawing freehand from there.
So I've laid out my garment on a flat surface. I've laid it out as straight and flat as I possibly can to take a picture of it.
I'm going to import it here. So I'm going to go File, Place, and I'm going to place the picture of my jumpsuit like so. So now what I'm going to do is select this pen tool on the left hand side, so you can press just P if you're on a Mac, and I'm going to zoom in here. To zoom in, it's the little magnifying glass right here. If you press Z, it will come up and you can zoom in. So what we're going to do is trace with our pen. We've got a black outline here. This is our swatch panel. So we've white fill and a black outline. And what we're going to do is trace the bodice lines. And what I'm doing is Illustrator works on what they call nodes. So with the pen, I'm going to the corner and clicking. Then I'm finding another corner and I'm holding the mouse down and stretching out this handle. And this node here can then be moved, and these handles then control, I guess, the curve. So I'm going to go like this. Now a rough outline is fine. Now I'm going around the armhole. See how I'm just stretching out that node? Or the handle of the node, I should say. And very important, we need to finish off where we start. So I need to click on this very first node, and that completes the shape. So now I've got the basic outline of my jumpsuit, and what I can do is if I go to the top left hand corner in the toolbar here, and I want to select the direct selection tool, which is this white arrow here, and I can fix up any of these lines here. So if I click on this node here, then I can move it around with my mouse to get it correct. So I need it to be roughly there for this neckline. If I want to see how it's a little bit wobbly through here in the armhole, I can move it and then see these little handles. If I move it like this, it then moves the whole sort of line. So I can adjust it like so. Because I took the flat lay, it's a little bit thick through the waist. So to demonstrate on a tech pack, usually we like to kind of make it a bit more in proportion because I don't want it to look very wide and short. So I'm just going to bring in the waist a little bit so they can see that in my design it actually is meant to be quite fitted through the waist. Okay, so now we're going to add the sleeves. So this is shape number 1. Shape number 2 will be our sleeves. So what we want to do is again just trace around the outline. We've got sleeve number 1. I'm going to move over to the other side, use my pen tool again. Now I'm going to move these two shapes. So I'm going to select them just by using the black arrow tool here. And if you go Control, it brings up a new menu bar. So arrange, send backward. So that's just putting these shapes here underneath this shape here. So it's kind of different orders. You can use different layers if you want to. This is probably the fastest way to do it. Now what we're going to do is make this shape here transparent or no fill. So if I go to this fill or swatch panel here and just hit this little square with a red line through it, then I can see my image underneath. So now I can draw the collar. So back to our pen tool. So I'm stretching out the handles to create that little curve there. Little curve here, stretch out the handles and complete my shape. And we want to make it white. Okay, and now what we want to do is create the back, and also I'm going to create a block shape underneath this. So if I just hit Control and click, the menu bar comes up. I'm going to go Arrange, Send Backward, Arrange, Send Backward, Arrange, Send Backward. See how it's behind now? And this one here, or also what I could do is just select these two collar shapes and click Control, Arrange, Bring to Front. So then that's the correct order here. Now you'll notice I did have some lines here for the collar. So I'm going to use the line segment tool here, and I'm going to just draw a line like so for the collar. Okay, next I'm going to draw some lines for these pleats. So like so. And also I'm going to just use my pen tool here to draw, oops, in this waistband. I'm also going to draw in this pleat. Like so. And I'm going to use the pen tool to draw in this fly. So like so. And I've got some pockets here, so what I'm going to do now, you can see the pocket is actually not lining up with my picture, but I'm creating it symmetrical to the other side, which is completely fine. This is just a guide to get your proportions correct. Now what I'm going to do is draw in these stitch lines. So I've got perhaps about 3 centimeter hem. So what I'm going to do with my pen tool, I'm going to just draw a line across, and if you go to your stroke toolbar, which is to this side here, you can then hit dashed line and it makes your line dashed. And what we're going to do is try a 4-point dash, maybe possibly less. Oops. 3-point dash. And the weight of the stroke or the line, I can make it a little bit lighter, so maybe 0.5, so it's fine and dainty now. And now when I zoom out, I think it could perhaps even go a little bit more of a dash, so I'm going to make it maybe a 1-point dash with a 1-point gap. That's a little bit more realistic now. And I'm going to use my pen tool to again draw in the stitch lines. And we've got the stitch line of the fly here, so I'm going to draw in the fly. Also, another advantage of actually tracing over a real garment when you're first learning out, it actually reminds you of all of the construction details you need to include, because you might actually forget about the fly or think, is it 1 line of stitching or 2 lines? Also with the hemline, is it 3 centimeters or is it really, really skinny hem? So only 1 centimeter, for example. So by tracing over an existing garment, it actually does jog your memory to think about all of the construction lines and where the stitching will be. So your manufacturer can then use this as a guide when they're stitching the garment. Even if you're not getting your designs manufactured, this is standard industry practice. So when you're a designer working for a firm, you always have to show how the garment is constructed and put in these construction lines. So it's a good thing to know. I'm going to use my rectangle tool now. I'm going to take the dash line off, and what I'm going to do is just draw a little rectangle here for the belt loops. Then I'm going to just click on this square shape, scroll down to Ellipse tool, and I'm going to draw a circle. Now if I select this circle and go Command C, that copies it. Then if I go Command V, I can paste it. Okay, I'm also going to go back to my pen tool now and draw in this line for where the buttons are going. Now it's a bit hard to see, but we don't have any buttonholes in here that you can see in the picture, so I'm just going to draw some in because this will be important to show the manufacturer. Do we want them to go horizontal or vertical? So I'm just going to draw in just a line. I'm going to make it a little bit skinnier or thinner. I've just copied it and pasted it. Whoops. Now with these buttons, I'm going to select them all. I'm going to press the control button and click arrange bring to front. So now the button is sitting on top of the buttonhole. Okay, looking good so far. Let's fill in this jumpsuit. That's looking pretty good. If I move this image away, you can now see I pretty much have my jumpsuit completed. So that took really fast time. What you could do is then color this in the correct colors. So if I just draw a little line around all of it, it selects all of the illustration. And I could then double click on this and choose a beautiful pink color. So there we have our beautiful jumpsuit. So once you start getting a little bit of a template of all of these illustrations, it then makes it easy to modify. So as a designer, so if I wanted to next season to draw a similar kind of jumpsuit, but I want to kind of create something a little bit different, maybe it's a little bit cooler, so I want it to be longer. It's very easy to modify. So if I just hit this little white arrow key here, I can then modify the points of this jumpsuit to then change the design. So right now I'm going to make it into a long jumpsuit. If I wanted to, I could make it into a bell sleeve. And what I can also do, this is a little bit wide on the pant, it's very easy to change by just moving my arrow key. I'm just literally pressing the left arrow key to move those highlighted points in. If I want to delete the pockets, I can. See how quickly I'm modifying it here? Also, what I might like to do is maybe I don't like this collar, so let's delete it. So now you have a completely different looking jumpsuit. I've got a long sleeve bell sleeve jumpsuit that's long. This is our playsuit that's short and belted. This one doesn't have a collar, whereas this one does. And there's just literally so many things you could change. When I'm normally designing, I do a couple of different copies. So as I'm designing, I then might, with this one here, change it also, like delete buttons. I might add a different color. So I've kind of got like a peep color. Might like to get rid of these belt loops. And maybe I'd like to add a little seam, waistband seam here. So see, it looks completely different to this version here. So as you're designing, you can very easily do different modifications. So it's fairly easy once you learn the tools and your way around Illustrator. So I'll show you, this is my fashion illustration or minimalistic sketch. So this is used more for artistic side of things, for social media content, or for portfolios, whereas this sketch here, which is our tech pack sketch, or technical drawing, this is used to send to the manufacturer. So hopefully this has given you heaps of really great tips here. If you'd like to learn something else, please comment below, and we're always looking for different ideas for our next video. We actually teach these Illustrator skills in a program. We've got a really short course. If you found this video useful, you can join our fast track mini course, which gives you 100 of these clothing templates, so you can directly import them into Illustrator and then very easily modify it to create your own design. So just like how I modified this one here to create these other ones, you will get a whole lot of templates like this where you can easily modify the designs to create your own. So lots of different sleeves, collars, necklines, and dresses, skirts, tops, jackets, jeans, swimwear as well. So if you'd like to, we've got the link below. It's 75% off this program at the moment. It's really, really affordable. So of course we'd love to for you to join. And if you really enjoyed this video, please give us a big thumbs up.